Vardhamana Viraktim Anyatra Karoti Pungsaha Hare Para Anusmriti Nivritasya Samasta Dukkha Apyayam Ashu Tate Sashadhanasya Vivardhamana Viraktimanyatra Karoti Pungsaha Hare Padanusmriti Nivritasya Samasta Dukha Pyayama Shuddhate Sashadhananasya Vivardhamana Viraktiman Yatra Karoti Pungsaha Hare Padanusmriti Nivritasya Samasta Dukha Pyayama Shuddhate Sashadhanasya Vivardhamana Viraktiman Yatra Karoti Pungsaha Hare Padanusmriti Nivritasya Samasta Dukha Pyayama Shuddhate
Viraktiman yatra karoti pumsa Samasta dukkapyayama shuddhate Sashadhananasya vivivardhamana Viraktiman yatra karoti pumsa Hare padanusmriti nivritasya Samasta dukkapyayama shuddhate Sashradhanasya vivardhamana Viraktiman yatra karoti pumsa Hare padanusmriti nivritasya Samasta dukkapyayama shuddhate. Dr. Joseph. Sashradhanasya vivardhamana Viraktiman yatra karoti pumsaha Hare padanusmriti nivritasya Samasta dukkapyayama shuddhate
Sasradadhanasya vivardhamana Viraktim adyatra karito pumsaha Padanusmriti nirvitasya Samasta dukkapyayam ashuddhate
Sashradhanasya vivardhamana Viraktiman yatra karoti pumsaha Hare padanusmriti nivritasya Samasta dukkapyayam ashuddhate
Shudate Sashratadhanasya Vivardhamana
Sashradadhanasya vivardhamana
Viraktim Anyatra Karoti Pumsaha
Virakti anyatra karoti pumsaha
Hare Paranusmriti Nirvritasya
Hare padanusmriti nivritasya
Samasta Dukapyayama Shudate
Samasta dukapyayam ashudate.
Ladies,
Shradadhana savivardhamana
Vardhamana
Viraktim anyatra karoti pumsaha
Ajakaroti Bhumka
Hare paranusmriti nirvitasya
Hare Paranusmriti Nirvitasya
Samasya dukkha piyayam asudate
Vavayama Shudate. Okay, word meanings. Sa, those topics of Krishna or Krishna Katha. Pradhanasya, of one who is anxious to hear. Vardhamana, gradually increasing. Viraktim, indifference. Anyatra, and other things than such topics. Karoti, does. Pumsaha, of one who is so engaged. Hare, of the Lord. Pada anusmriti, constant remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. Nirvitasya, one who has achieved such transcendental bliss. Samasta dukkha, all miseries. Apyayam, vanquished. Ashu, without delay. Tate, executes. For one who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna Katha gradually increases his indifference towards all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotee who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay. Purport, someone can read.
We must certainly know that on the absolute plane, Krishna Katha and Krishna are one and the same. The Lord is the absolute truth, and therefore His name, form, quality, etc., which are all understood to be Krishna Katha, are non-different from Him. Bhagavad Gita, being spoken by the Lord, is as good as the Lord Himself. When a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in His personal presence. But this is when a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in His personal presence. But this is not so for the mundane wrangler. all, the potencies of the Lord are there when one reads Bhagavad Gita, provided it is read in the way recommended in the Gita by the Lord Himself. One cannot foolishly manufacture an interpretation of Bhagavad Gita and still bring about transcendental benefit. Anyone who tries to squeeze some artificial meaning or interpretation from Bhagavad Gita for an ulterior motive is not Shraddhadhana Pumsa, one engaged anxiously in bona fide hearing of Krishna Katha. Such a person cannot derive any benefit from reading Bhagavad Gita, however great a scholar he may be in the estimation of a layman. The Shraddhadhana, or faithful devotee, can actually derive all the benefits of Bhagavad Gita, because by the omnipotency of the Lord he achieves the transcendental bliss, which vanquishes attachment and nullifies all concomitant material desires. Pardon me, material miseries. Only the devotee, by his factual experience, can understand the import of this verse spoken by Viduta. The pure devotee of the Lord enjoys life by constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, by hearing Krishna Katha. For such a devotee there is no such thing as material existence, and the much advertised bliss of Brahmananda is like a fig for the devotee who is in the midst of the transcendental ocean of bliss.
Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, Nam Prakasha Sarvasya, Yogamaya Smavrita, Yam Nabijanati, Lokam Mamajamavyam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, Yogamaya. Thus the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. Krishna cannot be manipulated the way a non-devotee wants to. He's totally independent. He's transcendental to everything and everyone. He's Trib here, Gunamaya Bhava. He's beyond all the modes of material nature. He's in control of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna, the supreme controller. No one is equal to him. Asumordva. No one is greater than him. So, no one can dictate to him. No one can force him to do anything. If he wants, he can play like a child, and as a child, he may run away from his mother out of fear because he did some naughty thing. So the mother runs after him, and he's afraid. How is he afraid? Can God be afraid of anyone? No, but he can play like that for the pleasure of the child, for the pleasure of the devotee. It's like yesterday we were hearing about how the devotee, the Lord, plays a part to give pleasure to his devotee. Like example of Prime Minister Gladstone in England. So some man wanted to see him, and so they told the man that you have to wait, he's busy now. So the man waited, an hour passed. So he wanted to see what was going on, what was the Prime Minister doing. The Prime Minister was on the floor pretending to be a horse, and his grandchildren were riding him and having a good time. So he was a horse, and he didn't have time to meet with this big diplomat from some other country. What was he doing that was so important? He was giving pleasure to his grandson and getting pleasure himself. He preferred doing that than talking about his political mess. So similarly, Krishna, he prefers, I'd rather be in Vrindavan. He prefers to be in Vrindavan. But he's not neglectful of his duty. He says, if I did not work, then the whole world, all the worlds would be put to ruination, and I would be the cause of creating unwanted progeny. Therefore I do my work. And similarly, you should do your work. Everyone should do their duty, although Krishna has no duty to perform. But he plays like that. He has so many expansions. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, Anantam, Rupam. Unlimited forms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Ananta. Unlimited forms. And he's partaking in his different pastimes in all these different forms. He's the Supreme Person. Therefore, he wants to enjoy everything. It's like we have a desire to enjoy, but our conception of enjoyment is limited because we're small. We can't even conceive of enjoyment like Krishna. He has 16,000 queens, and he wants to enjoy with every one of them at the same time. He doesn't want to miss out on anything. That's Krishna. And he can do it. So Krishna has his pastimes as a horse, pastimes as a fish, pastimes as a tortoise, pastimes in Dwarka, pastimes Thura, pastimes in Vrindavan. And sometimes take so many different forms for enjoying and executing his needs. He likes to take care of his devotees, just like a father, very dutiful father. He's a big businessman. He can put others in charge of his children. And he does, but if there's some emergency, they call him. And he takes care of it personally. That's his real business. He'd rather be with his children and his family than the business. So Krishna enjoys being with pure devotees. He doesn't enjoy so much being with those who are somewhat motivated in their relationship with him. Just like there are those who pray to God, please give me this, give me that. So he fulfills their desires according to what they deserve. But it's not so pleasing to him. He becomes more satisfied by hearing the chastisements of his beloved devotees in Vrindavan, rather than hearing the praise of the Brahmanas, the Vedic scholars. Of course, they want to please him too, but they also want to please themselves. Sometimes it even turns out that one wants to worship God for his own benefit. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma means he performs religious activities. Why? Artha. He gets economic development, he gets wealth. By performing some God worship, he gets good results. And so that's one of his main motivations. Artakama. And when he gets enough wealth, then he wants to enjoy his senses. And we see that when wealth is abundant, then the kama also becomes abundant. The desire for sense gratification, the lust, increases. So sometimes Krishna takes it all away. From a devotee who's somewhat undecided, not sure whether he wants to serve the Lord or serve his senses. So the Lord may take away all his wealth. And then he doesn't have such opportunities available. And then he has to surrender to Krishna. So sometimes that's done by Krishna as a benefit. And then after kama, they try to enjoy all these different positions. But it's never satisfying. Even if one has so much wealth, it doesn't mean he'll be satisfied with that wealth, with that fame, with that beauty. You can buy a lot of things with money. You can get the best plastic surgeon, you can get the best trainer. There's so many good things. And to make yourself attractive. But it doesn't work because we're not the all attractive. We're not meant to be the all attractive. We're not meant to be adored by everyone. We're meant to adore Krishna and serve him. That's our natural constitutional position. Not any other position is not our natural position. And then mukti, after one tries to enjoy the material world, become the supreme enjoyer, and it doesn't work, he's not satisfied, then he wants to merge and become God through meditation. So that's not very pleasing to God either. You can't be really merging to God again. So, God wants the devotees to serve him unconditionally. No motives for himself. The motive should be, it's my duty to serve you, and I don't require anything in return. Like Prahlad. Lord Nrsingadev was very pleased with Prahlad. So he said, I want to give you something. Ask for something. I'm satisfied just with your devotional service. I don't need anything else for my enjoyment. There's nothing more enjoyable than that. So that type of desire to serve the Lord without any desire for material gain, that's transcendental. That's a transcendental desire. One doesn't have to give up that. In fact, we see that the pure devotees are very, very attached to trying to increase their service to the Lord. They're willing to work very hard. They'll give up sleep. They don't even care about sleeping. Nidra Hare Hare Kadi Vijito Jat Janta Dino Trio. 6 Goswamis, they practically didn't sleep. They were so eager to perform service for the Lord's pleasure. And naturally, the Lord, when He becomes pleased, then He also satisfies the devotee. So the devotee doesn't miss out on any pleasure. He gets everything because he gets the Lord. That's why Lord Krishna wanted to find out what made Srimati Radharani so attached to him. Couldn't understand. He could understand how he was attached to her because of all of her good qualities, but he couldn't understand why she was attached to him. So he took that mood of Srimati Radharani and her complexion, and in the transcendental appearance as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He is Radha and Krishna combined, so that the Lord can taste the nectar. And that's the nectar of Lord Chaitanya's love for Krishna. And those who follow him, they also obtain that transcendental bliss. That is so great that Lord Krishna wants to experience it. Any points?
Mike?
I was just wondering if Krishna's internal potency is more powerful than Krishna because of its power to make Krishna dependent on his devotees.
Well, Krishna is the source of everything. So all the energies work under his control. So, no, they're not more powerful than him because he is the Shakti, he's the Shaktiman. All the Shaktis, all the energies are his energies. A nice description of this in the Puranas and Garga Samhita, that Lord Krishna is never separated from Radharani. His internal potency, just like milk and the color white, they're always together. Or like the sun and the shine, always together. So there's no separation.
In the Krishna Kata and the name, form, all these things are non-different from Krishna. So in that same sense, is the Guru non-different from Krishna? Is the Guru non-different from Krishna in the same sense that Krishna Kata and these other things are?
The Guru represents Krishna because he speaks the same words, he speaks the same message, he has the same mood and desire of Krishna. And he's trusted, he has power of attorney from Krishna. So that means Krishna must have a lot of trust in him. If a big man, a very wealthy man, writes this power of attorney and gives it to someone, means he has a lot of confidence. They're not going to misuse it. They could. They could write that check for it and put down on the check who it goes to? Himself, his own name, for some huge amount of money, and then he gets it. And what can the big man, he can't say, wait, he did it wrong. I'm sorry, sir. He gave power of attorney. No illegal thing happened there. So, the point is that Krishna has a lot of confidence in those who represent him. Therefore he says, there's no one more dear to me than he who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita. So if you want to become dear to Krishna, then study Bhagavad Gita and teach others Bhagavad Gita. Charitarika Krishna Padesh Amara Gyaguru Hanatari Desh. Wherever you go, whomever you meet, speak of Krishna. Either Krishna's glories or what Krishna says himself. Krishna Katha.
So if a guru that, takes disciples, even like within ISKCON, if he falls down, did he never have power of attorney, or did he fail to use properly what he was given?
Yeah. All of us, all living entities have the opportunity. Their natural condition is Shivara Swarupa Hoy Nityara Krishna Das. They're eternally servant of Krishna. That's their position. But if they don't take advantage of that, and they want to become a competitor of Krishna, then they lose that opportunity.
So, in the example of falling down, does Krishna ever try to help his devotee not fall down, or is Krishna kind of just letting this person do this?
Yes, he's doing that in so many ways. Therefore, he's the spiritual master. Therefore, he comes personally, so many forms. Therefore, he leads Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, he comes in the deity form, so that the devotees can worship him in a form that they can hold, they can dress, they can make clothes for him, they can cook for him. Some devotees, that's their service. Or they can clean for him, or they can meditate on his form. Krishna appears in all these different ways just to help the devotees, so they don't fall down. That's his main activity. But although he doesn't want them to fall down, and he tries to encourage them not to fall down, but he also doesn't want to take away their free will. So, because what is love without free will? It is forced. Forced love is not really love. So he wants the love to be real, and he wants the relationship to be satisfying. So he tries in so many ways to help them to not fall down. But ultimately, if someone is stubbornly insistent, then he gives him a place in the material world, but he's always eager to bring him back. He lets him go to the material world, but he wants him to come back.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I was wondering if you had any advice on how we can burn out these desires and approach Krishna in purity. It seems like a monumental accomplishment.
Approach Krishna what?
In purity, without motivation or desire to...
Well, that's why we hear about the benefits. That's one of the ways, is by hearing about how beneficial it is and how the results are wonderful when one serves Krishna purely. But Krishna is even willing to take mixed devotional service. Even if there's a little taint of devotional service, he's attracted, but more attracted by. And when someone sees or comes in contact with a pure devotee, he'll naturally experience this person is getting more pleasure than anyone else I ever met. So that I want to follow that. That's why so many people follow Prabhupada, and they're still following him because he has pleasure and knowledge that you can't get anywhere else. Not possible. So we have to go where to get it. Have to follow in his footsteps. Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.